quote in my head that I roll through it and I say it over and over. Do the work and the rest will work itself out. Do the work, the money will come. Do the work so I can make a living. Do the work for God because there I feel there is some sort of reason or purpose. I keep coming back to square one, which is my books, my writing, and the show. It's almost like to the point to where in corporate America, and I've worked for several companies and I've had some really great jobs, but it's almost like I've maxed myself out there in the corporate world on my dream or what I can do. Does that mean that I'm living in a cloud where I don't think that kind of money was great or didn't supply or take care of my family? It's just that in the meantime, I always fall back on this. And I've been doing this show for 3 years, excuse me. And I think it was October 18th, may have been a year. And 120 plus episodes. I'm on all of the show is on all of the, wherever you can find your podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, several places, along with the places that I share it, which are Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Now, why do I go off and tell this? Because I took a huge pause, and that's the problem with Bev. That's what I keep doing, and I think there might be other people out there that this happens to. But that happens to me. I'll be doing well, and then something happens, something comes up. I was, launching everything early this year, and a friend of mine said, hey, I got an opportunity for you. You want to, give this a go and interview for this position? And I did. And the management was so horrible, there was no way I could continue there. Now, I put myself in a situation where I could make choices. But on the other hand, it was like I couldn't spend, it's a half hour each way, so that's an hour a day. And then a long 8-9 hour day there. And why I say long is because it was the working conditions were terrible. Like where I sat, there were fumes in the place. It was terrible. And I was physically getting ill, and it just hits you. Why am I doing this? For what? Well, yeah, we got to make money. We got to do the right. But I was getting sick. And I left. I made a decision and left. So when I did, I fell back on this, but then I took this ridiculous pause. I started second guessing myself. There were voices in my head saying, you can't do that. What's gonna, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, if you'd done it differently. And so I retreated. And it just takes a little, something to happen that gets that little fire in your belly again. The problem with me is keeping that fire in my belly. Now, I'm just being, honest with you. And when I say, what are you waiting for? Oftentimes it's like I'm talking to myself or giving myself my own, boost, my own message that I try and share with people, but it's like, not like, who do you think you are or whatever, but it's like, I am looking for something here, I'm sorry. But it's a situation of keeping it simple, asking myself, what are you waiting for? What are you doing? The 100% way that you'll fail is if you don't do it. That's how you know it's not going to work, is if you don't do it, if you don't take a small step, if you don't change up your day. I heard once about habits that we form and breaking them and how hard it is. And instead of putting so much pressure on yourself to break a bad habit, start a new one, positive one, in the right direction. Because you can have a bad habit and get another one. I don't know what your, bad habits are, but if it's, you got a bad habit of sleeping until the last minute. Well, sleep into the last minute, but when you get up, go at lightning speed to get done what you need to get done to get ready. Instead of beating yourself up on, I still can't wake up, it's so important to keep that positive balance in your life to fight the negative. So I encourage you to take a look at that. I don't care if you work for a corporation, if you're doing your own thing, if you're retired. If you are not feeling fulfilled, you're not being fair to yourself. And I've had people message me, and I got an email that said, I am so depressed. The stuff that you say is bullshit. And I said, if you have the courage, because I've been there, to say that you're depressed, as soon as you feel that you're out of sorts, you're depressed, as soon as you have that acknowledgement, there is one thing, whatever that might be, but there is one small step that you could possibly take to turn that. Be depressed, but maybe eat a little bit better. Be depressed if you're feeling overweight. Be depressed and make one small change. Change your day. I've had days where I felt like I could not physically lift myself up off of the sofa or get out of bed. I've been there. I understand that. But there comes a point where if I tell somebody, God, I'm so depressed, that's acknowledgement, and that's a great thing. It's a great thing for you to be able to say the sentence, I'm depressed. Believe it or not. I'm no psychologist, but I know this worked for me. So what I did was I stopped saying it. I stopped acknowledging it. And instead of that, I would say, like a positive thing to myself, if I can tell myself I'm depressed and I am depressed, then that's working. So why not tell yourself something else and see if you can combat that to not be depressed? So as an example, if I felt depressed, I was sad, had no energy, didn't feel like walking, didn't feel like doing what I normally am used to doing, I would say things like, I used to write every day. I used to dream about writing and publishing books every day. Well, as soon as I start talking that way, then there's no room for the sentence of I'm depressed. So every time that happens, you have a new beginning to be able to start saying something different. One small change each day. And the best way to start a new beginning, if you feel like, I don't know what she's talking about, she writes books, she talks, whatever, she's out of her mind. This I know for a fact, and I'm not out of my mind. As soon as you're feeling so terrible for yourself, you've made some mistakes, you got the shoulda, coulda, wouldas going on, do something for someone else. Do something for someone else. And if that's something, because I know, I talk about this all the time. It's so easy for us to be so negative because of if we allow ourselves, we're in a negative environment. If you look at what's going on in our world and our country, and you can fall into that. I did. I can watch the news, be having a great day, look at the news and think, I'm just going to get caught up. And my mood can be changed instantly. Instantly. And anything positive that I had going on that day is altered by that. So often, I don't necessarily call it New Year's Day, but throughout the year, I start a new beginning. Because I know that if I'm doing the new beginning, if I know I'm trying to do a fresh start, if I know I'm trying to do a do-over, then I know I'm trying. It takes work. It takes hard mental work. So instead of catching up on the news, I'll grab a book if I want to, develop my mind. I want to be aware, but I can get sucked in. I retreated from social media. That was getting to me. There was just too much going on, and I needed to know about it. Well, if it's something that I'm going to become an activist or I'm going to do something about, that's one thing. But if I'm just consuming all of this negativity and feeding my body with it, I will become bogged down by that. And it will affect me. And then you get why try if this is out there? Or why even give it a go? I'm at a point now, and I have been, even though I retreated and did some self-work and, kind of prepared myself, I'm at a point now to where I have to. I have to. There's no waiting around. There's no more, we could get our sentence read to us by a simple doctor visit. You never know. And it's that unknown I can't do anything about. But this I can control. I can try and put out a positive message. I can try and be a great storyteller through my books. I'm really excited about this book that's coming out. I have been excited about this book for 20 years. And I'm finally to the point to where, do I want to be laying there thinking about all those books I've written and didn't publish them? Do I want to go through the headache and the process of trying to find a publisher? Or why don't I just stick my toe in the water and I become a publisher? That's where I am. I have a lot of big plans, but I can't do them all at once. I can try to do what I can in a day, and right now, I personally am going through the baby steps I just offered you. So I will tell you, when I say these things, it's not because I'm showing off or I'm really looking for something here, and I'm really disappointed if you can hear me drifting off. It isn't that I'm not focused, but there is something I'm looking for. But I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm just, this is a motivational thing. I'm doing this. I am working through this process. It is not easy. But that's why they call it work. What is easy is when I do what I'm supposed to be doing. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's not easy for me to lay out a book, but it's exciting for me to be able to do that, and I see an end result. I talked about this the other day. You've got your seeds, you've got your dirt, you've got your water, and suddenly a plant grows. That's because of you. It can't water itself. Sure, if there's rain, but if we have a drought, you got to help it along. It's your nurturing and care. And sometimes I think we care for things, our houses, our dogs, cats, whatever kind of pets you have. our garden, whatever, we take better care of them than we do ourselves. We take ourselves so much